So today we tell the tale of Light Yagami and his story, his mission to rule the world under the given name Kita. Death Note review. So the story starts out, a Shinigami, aka God of Death, is given a notebook that he drops into the human world. This God of Death plans to basically wreak havoc upon Earth. With this notebook, any name that is written in it, that person will die. And a student, high school student named Light Yagami finds that notebook. So Light Yagami basically wreaks havoc with this notebook and wants to create a new world where basically he starts killing all criminals. Anyone that is in jail for murder, rape, etc., he kills them. But what Light Yagami didn't intend on is that L would be a part of this case. A super detective known as L, basically, for half the series, tries to crack down on the Light Yagami Kita case, where the whole time he thinks, well, majority of the time, he thinks that Kita, the person committing all these murders, is actually Light Yagami. After a while, they start to realize that there's something up with Light Yagami, because L, the person investigating this case, dies. And the two people that are his successors, one of them dies, but the other one cracks the case and finds out that Light Yagami is the one committing the murders and is Kita. And upon trying to run away, Light Yagami is killed by the God of Death that gave him the Death Notebook in the first place. What's up, everybody? ForneverWorld here, and I hope you enjoyed that little synopsis of Death Note, where I basically kind of, cosplayed a little bit, or etc. Made it look like if I was L telling the story of Light Yagami, and basically the premises of Death Note. I thought it would be interesting, because I know a lot of people have seen Death Note, but to hear it told and with a little visual of even though I don't really look like L at all, but I tried my best to make it, as cosplayed out as possible. So I hope you enjoyed that. But I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about my favorite parts of Death Note, and is it a overrated show or underrated show? Well, let's start off with some of my favorite parts. Some of my favorite parts of the show definitely have to be, let's see, this is just so many. I'm going to start off with, I enjoy the beginning of Death Note so much because this is a series that starts off so fast and so rocket, oh man, it just starts off so incredibly fast. As soon as he picks up the Death Note, these bad instincts, I guess, within this person, like Yagami, kick in, and he just wants to, I guess in his eyes he's not bad, because he's doing this thing with a sense of justice in his eyes. He feels like what he's doing is right. He's kind of like a villain that thinks that what he's doing is correct. Not one of those, black and white, is bad or good. So it's a fine line between that. And actually the fans were really rooting for him throughout the entire series. They were really going for Light Yagami. I mean, personally, not me. I was actually rooting for L up until his ultimate, demise, which was really a messed up part. I hated that part because, not that I hated the part, I hated that the character went, because it was one of my favorite characters. Probably is my favorite character of the entire series. Something that people always debate about, and I'll debate about this as well, is Nier a correct successor to L? And in my opinion, he is the perfect successor, because not only does he take what L left him to crack the Kita case, but he resembles him, he acts like him, he's calm, and although he's nervous, he does the little, curling of the hair and stuff, and he plays with the toys. But in my opinion, he's a perfect successor. Mello definitely wasn't, because Mello was too hot-headed, he was too irrational with things. He wasn't the right successor, but he did lend a helping hand in catching Kita, Light Yagami. And so that's some of my favorite things about the series. I like I like Nier. I like that he took what L left behind and cracked the case or whatever. I definitely thought that it was awesome that Ryuk was like a cool comedic relief, but at the same time he was evil as well, because we do know, by the way, if you're watching this is spoiler ridden, so, but we do know that Ryuk is basically the one that pulls the final string, killing Light, because he's kind of like, I'm not going to be sitting it with him in jail cells all over, because, you know, he's going to jail. He's probably going to be in jail for years before they execute him or something. And Ryuk is just thinking, I'm not going through all this. So he just writes his name in the Death Note. Like, you know, I'm going back to the thing. I heard that in Light Revisions, I believe it is called, a special, that we actually find out that Light Yagami might actually become a god of death, a Shinigami, afterwards, but it's never really said clearly. So that's something that is kind of cool, that, like, you know, it leaves a little mystery and leaves something left in case they ever wanted to do a Death Note Part 2, which I would love. It would be awesome, like, if Light becomes a Shinigami and, like, you know, he's really evil or something. That would be really awesome. I would really love that. But the series has such a perfect tone. The only thing that I dislike about this series is the Yotsuba stuff. I do not like the Yotsuba stuff, the head of the Yotsuba company with the Death Note being Kita and doing all these crazy things. I didn't like that part. I felt it kind of got a little stale there, but overall the series was really awesome. My opinion, overrated, underrated, overrated, underrated. I would say that it is about, it definitely deserves the hype that it gets, in my opinion. I believe that it deserves the hype that it gets, because Death Note is an awesome, awesome series. It's like, you could say, like, you know, it has flaws, but what doesn't have its flaws? Like, you know, there really isn't a perfect anime out there. So I would definitely say that Death Note has its flaws, but it is really awesome, and all the acclaim that it gets, it definitely deserves. And maybe it might even be a little underrated, because people don't put it as a classic. They just say that's the awesome anime Death Note. But in my opinion, it could be a classic. I guess with time passing by, we'll see how it ages, and how you know, how people react to it in 10 years, for example, when, like, Death Note's already been out a while. I believe it was out in '07, so we gotta give it more years to age and see what people still think after another 5-10 years, and see if people still find it as awesome. And then that's probably when it'll get its classic title, because some other animes that, like, came out around the same time get the classic title, but Death Note doesn't. I mean, that's a little unfair. In my opinion, it definitely deserves to be a classic, or at least, you know, considered somewhat more or less of a classic, because it's really, really an awesome series. You know, one of the turn-ups that people probably get are the fangirls that they, oh my god, I love it, I love it. It is an awesome series, but, you know, that's what happens with me with a couple of genres as well. Like when fangirls get all crazy about it, like Twilight stuff, it's like, oh, come on. So, you know, that's something that I dislike, but overall, Death Note is a really awesome series. I believe it's on sale right now, but by the time I post this review, it might not be, so I don't know. But, you know, it's about $30-something of a season, 2 seasons. Not bad. I mean, it could be way better, but, you know, you gotta pay sometimes for an awesome anime. And they know that it's gonna sell regardless, because Death Note is such an awesome series that people are gonna pay for it regardless. Yeah, great series. I think some of the great things about it are the dynamics between, like, a lot of people really enjoyed when L finally got really close to Light and, like, went to the school and said, I'm L, like, shocking him and everything. And it was always, like, a mental battle. Like, this is a series where the mind actually is combating throughout it. It's not so much of the fists or the guns or anything. It's more of a mental battle, and I think that's the most powerful thing, when two people are battling with their minds throughout that. And it makes the term Death Note logic. It makes that term really real, because Death Note is just like such a mental struggle throughout the entire thing. Is it him? Is it him? He's never gonna find me out. You know, stuff like that. That it makes it such a powerful series, and definitely, again, I say it's worth a good 9.5 in my opinion out of 10. But yeah, that's my review of Death Note. Make sure you check it out if you haven't. What are you doing watching my video if you haven't? And let me know what you think in the comment section below, or a video response if you want to talk about Death Note, or predictions if there were a sequel or something like that. That would be a cool response, because I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm ForneverWorld, and have an awesome day.